Heard your panel on race talk about families. This is again going to be what went up yesterday, the Black Intellectual Roundtable. If income potential was the determining factor, Asian men would not be least likely to be swiped right on. Black women also least likely. It's about Western beauty standards.
Nope. It's about Western beauty standards, which are a heuristic for something else, something devastating, something diabolical that we are not aware of about ourselves, which is that our genes have a complex set of interests in who we find attractive and for what, right? In other words, there isn't just one thing that people find other people attractive for, and whether you're male or female dictates how many things you are likely to find people attractive for, and the calculus of who you should be attracted to for these different things is distinct. So, if it were Western beauty standards, then Asian men and Asian women, I mean, Asia's a big place, but let's just say you would expect the same valence on the decision making. And in fact, what you find...
No, that's an ungenerous interpretation of the statement.
Maybe I misunderstood the statement.
Western beauty standards does not presume that the West, for any given population, call it Asia, which obviously is not a single population, has the same beauty standards for men and women, has the same expectations of what is beauty and such.
Oh, that's not what I mean. What I mean is that you do find something like sexual racism, less so now, but sexual racism against, let's say, far Asian... I
can't believe you just used that phrase.
What?
Sexual racism. Okay.
Well...
Yep.
Sexual selectivity by population against men in the same population where women are fetishized.
Yeah.
Okay? Now, that's an interesting evolutionary phenomenon. Mm-hmm. And, you want to know how complex this puzzle is? Dig there.
But the fetishization of, for instance, East Asian women.
Yep.
Is that not mostly by European and European descended men? Or is there a fetishization of, this is a crazy conversation, but, do South American men fetishize East Asian women? And if so, is that, again, hearkening back to something that emerges out of a European ethos that describes something underlying?
I don't think it's arbitrary at all is what I'm getting at.
Right.
I think this is...
I see that's what you're arguing.
Yeah.
But.
So first of all, we've got a confound, which is it's very hard to sort out what is the organic state of sexual prejudice and what is the result of the fact that, if Asian women are fetishized for some organic reason, then advertisers figure this out and they use it to sell products. And
you get positive feedback.
You get positive feedback.
For sure.
But my point is, as you and I have seen repeatedly in Central and South America, our beauty standards get broadcast by companies into Latin America. And so,
No, it's actually, we could go down a lot of different little rabbit holes here, but one of the really interesting things about spending so much time both in Latin America, where, by the early 90s when we started going there, they were already completely immersed and drenched in Hollywood and Western standards, right? Whereas compare that to Madagascar, where we both spent a lot of time. I spent a bit more time than you did, also in the 90s, which had almost no exposure at all. Like, in fact, if people asked us at all where we were from, they would assume we were French because America is just not in their map at all of the world. And it was a very, very different place to be. The standards, the expectations, and the beauty standards were very much not in the water and the air there. And so decisions about who was attractive and not were very different.
Yeah, they were very different. But the confound makes it difficult to know what the organic state is and which populations will be responding to which prejudices and which populations have picked up a prejudice because their media is broadcasting it, even if they wouldn't have arrived there themselves.
I guess I just don't think that, I think you respond to the question by saying absolutely not. I don't think that the idea of Western beauty standards is itself wrong. You are just saying, okay, but those standards are based on something that is more fundamental. And I'm not claiming it's moral or nice, but that it is based on something that goes deeper than just it's not arbitrary. And this again is the point that we make over and over and over again in this book that we're working on. That culture, cultural anthropology went off the rails in the mid 20th century, in part with Clifford Geertz, who was arguing in 1960s, 70s, that culture is arbitrary, and that therefore you can do all of this work on cultural anthropology with the assumption that what one culture does could just as easily been what another culture does. And no, that's wrong. That's wrong. Culture evolves just like eye color evolves, and no, it's different mechanisms. Culture is not genetic, but be it genetic or developmental or, revealing itself in anatomy or physiology or behavioral or cultural, it's all evolutionary.
Yeah, it's passed by different hereditary mechanisms, but it's an evolutionary landscape just the same. And we argue subservient to the genetic landscape, which is not a good thing.
Yeah.
Well, the cultural landscape is flexible, which is a great thing. It means we can change stuff in one generation if we want to. But the system we've been handed is one in which culture evolves to serve the genes. And if we want to break that linkage, which we should, we've got our work cut out for us.